So a couple weeks ago, I did a pilot episode for a potential new series on unexplained mysteries from every Pokemon generation, starting with the first generation and the Johto region. Well, based on your guys' reception to that video, I think it's safe to say that we are definitely going to be making this a series and going through every other generation as well, because the support on that video was amazing and I cannot thank you guys enough. Anyways, with that being said, since we covered Johto in the last video, naturally we have to move on to Generation 2 and cover some unexplained mysteries surrounding the Johto region. When it comes to unexplained mysteries, the Johto region is a good place to look because Johto is steeped in lore and history, and there's a lot of that type of stuff surrounding it both in the present day as well as in the past of the Pokemon world. And when you're dealing with lots of that kind of stuff, naturally some mysteries and some unanswered questions tend to pop up here and there, and that is exactly what is going on with Johto. So in today's video, we are going to be taking a look at this kind of stuff and going over 5 unexplained mysteries from the Johto region. We've got some really fascinating stuff to talk about today, so without any further ado, let's just get right to it. The first one of these mysteries we're going to be talking about today is one that has always perplexed me a lot personally, and that is the question of why was Kris, the female player character from Pokemon Crystal, replaced with Lyra in Pokemon Heart Gold and Soul Silver. Debuting in Pokemon Crystal, Kris was the very first female player character that was ever introduced into the Pokemon franchise, and was obviously a huge step forward for the franchise as well. So it was naturally a little bit puzzling and shocking that when the Generation 2 remakes came around, Kris was nowhere to be found, and instead we had a replacement for her in the form of Lyra. It just seems kind of odd to make this sort of change given the fact that the player characters, both male and female, are essentially the main characters in this story, so swapping out a main character for a remake of an old game is just really odd, but it's even more odd when you consider, like I said, Kris was the very first female player character. She has a lot of importance just inherently because of that, and it just seems like she was forgotten about and kind of just brushed off to the side. And yeah, as far as I can tell and as far as I have been able to research, there has been no explanation offered whatsoever, at least publicly, as to why this change was made. In fact, it does seem to be the case that it was a late change, as according to Bulbapedia, there are some Pokegear icons within the data of Heart Gold and Soul Silver that actually resemble Kris rather than Lyra, so it does seem based on this evidence that she was going to be in the game at some point, but at a later stage in development was scrapped and replaced with Lyra for some unknown reason. Personally, even though I have nothing against Lyra as a character, I much prefer the design of Kris, and she just has so much going for her in terms of her significance within the franchise as a whole. So to have her replaced is once again a very, very head-scratching mystery, and I can only hope that we get a true answer to this question at some point in the future. Our next topic of discussion, though, is a classic one that has been discussed pretty much since the release of Pokemon Gold and Silver themselves, and that would be the case of the Unown and the Ruins of Alph. Now, you don't need to be a fan of Pokemon for very long to know that the Unown are some very mysterious creatures, possibly the most mysterious in the entire Pokemon world, because not only are they very unusual and we don't know a lot about them, but one thing is clear despite that, and that is that they are very, insanely important to the overall fabric of the Pokemon universe. The problem with that, though, is that for how important the Unown truly are within the Pokemon world and universe, we know almost nothing about them. We really don't know much of anything at all about their backstory. We really don't know where they came from. We don't know why they are sitting within the Ruins of Alph or what the deal is with the Ruins of Alph itself. We just really have no idea, even though we know they're extremely important, which is why this is so interesting, fascinating, yet extremely puzzling. And as I just mentioned, the Ruins of Alph themselves are also a big part to this question, because other than the fact we know they were built by some kind of ancient civilization long ago, we don't really know anything else. We don't know who these people were that built the Ruins of Alph, we don't know why the Unown are residing there, and we don't really know what the ruins truly mean in terms of their significance to the entire Pokemon world as a whole. I mean, heck, even for as important and significant as the Ruins of Alph and the Unown truly and undoubtedly are, they are a part of Pokemon Gold and Silver and their remakes that you can completely skip over and you don't even have to touch in order to complete the game. So the fact that they kind of just sit there, almost as if they are being overlooked, yet they truly hold possibly the biggest secret and the biggest key to understanding what is going on in the Pokemon universe, is truly one of the biggest unexplained mysteries from not only the Johto region, but the entire Pokemon world. And as one more final note here before we move on, we also know that the Unown have some kind of relationship with Arceus thanks to the Sinjoh Ruins event, and there's no explanation offered in terms of dialogue or background or anything like that, once again just further adding to the number of mysteries surrounding these Pokemon and their home of the Ruins of Alph. And speaking of the Sinjoh Ruins are the topic of our third unexplained mystery, because I'm sure if you've heard of the Sinjoh Ruins already, then you truly know how truly mysterious they truly are. And you know what? That last sentence was extremely ironic considering there is not a lot of truth to this place that we even know about to begin with. The only things we know about it concretely is that it's not even in the Johto region for starters, it lies somewhere to the north of Johto, but presumably not in the Sinnoh region either, where it gains some of its inspiration. And speaking of Sinnoh, that goes into how this place even came to exist in the first place, as it was created by people from both Sinnoh and Johto coming together presumably in the middle of their two regions in order to construct a sort of monument, if you will, that recognized and honored both of their region's legendary Pokemon. It's also a place that has heavy ties to Arceus, as it's a place that you can take Arceus in the Sinjoh Ruins event in order to create another one of the creation trio, Dialga, Palkia, or Giratina. However, aside from that, that is all we know about it. And I know that might seem like a lot when I'm explaining it all out piece by piece, but truly there is so much that we do not know about this place. Very similar to the Ruins of Alph, once again, we know it was built by an ancient people, but we don't know who those people are. We don't really know where they come from aside from Sinnoh and Johto respectively. We don't know where specifically the ruins are located, as you can't even traverse anywhere around the ruins whatsoever, as they are completely surrounded by snow. And then the Sinjoh Ruins themselves are also the thing that spawned the mystery of the relationship between Unown and Arceus, as we see Arceus using the Unown in order to create another one of the creation trio, which obviously further implies a relationship between the two, but it doesn't really go into any further detail about what that relationship is or how the Unown are being used to create multiple copies of legendary Pokemon. I mean, this place isn't even accessible within the main game itself. You can only access it with a specific distribution event that is not available within the standard version of the game. So this place is very elusive, very secretive, and very mysterious to say the least, and its mere presence only spawns more and more mysteries on top of that, and I can only dream and hope that we get some kind of revisitation to this place or some kind of extra detail about it at some point in the future, maybe Diamond and Pearl remakes for instance, but until then we are just gonna have to continue to speculate and wonder about what exactly is going on with this place. Well, since we've covered a couple classic Johto mysteries, we might as well go ahead and cover one more, and that would be one of the most talked about and discussed mysteries of any Pokemon generation, frankly, the original identity of the legendary beasts. As you may know, the legendary beasts Entei, Suicune, and Raikou all reside within the burned tower, and they also resided within this tower before it was burned as well, before they were actually the legendary beasts. The story goes that this tower was struck by lightning, which caused it to catch on fire, and in the process of the fire, 3 nameless Pokemon died. However, from this tragic event rose something even greater from the ashes, as Ho-Oh then came down and resurrected these 3 nameless Pokemon in an enhanced form that we now know of as Entei, Suicune, and Raikou, together being the legendary beasts. So basically, these 3 Pokemon are super beefed up versions of what they were before. However, the true identity of these Pokemon before they were resurrected has been on the minds of Pokemon fans for years, and there have been tons of theories about it. The most prevailing of which states that these 3 Pokemon were Flareon, Vaporeon, and Jolteon, as there is a huge concentration and focus of Eevee and Eeveelutions within Ecruteak City, as the Kimono girls, who also reside within the city, specialize in using Eeveelutions. And while that is a convincing theory for sure, it is definitely not the truth as of yet, because the truth as of yet has not been stated by Pokemon officially. Whenever this story is brought back up, the Pokemon Company take great care to preserve the fact that these 3 Pokemon are nameless, not wanting to reveal their identity in any way, shape, or form. So it definitely does seem like they are keen on keeping this a mystery and just having it be one of the unexplained, unanswered questions of the Pokemon world. And while it's definitely not a bad thing to have a few of those here and there, this is one that I would definitely like the true answer to. The next mystery I'm going to talk about here is one that isn't as widely discussed as some of the others we have already talked about. However, I still find it extremely interesting, and that would be the question of who is Silver's mother. Silver is your rival within the Generation 2 games, and he is known as quite possibly the greatest rival we have ever had for his snide, arrogant, cocky, and downright insufferable attitude. He also has some pretty good character development within the games as well, but the biggest revelation about him did not come until the Heart Gold and Soul Silver remakes, where within the Celebi event, it was revealed that Giovanni, the leader of Team Rocket, is actually Silver's dad. This was an absolutely monumental revelation that sent the entire Pokemon community into a frenzy. However, with this revelation came a likely unintended follow-up question, and that would be, who is Silver's mom? I think it's safe to say that this is one of those questions that Game Freak never really had any intention of actually answering. However, because Game Freak unintentionally proposed this question by revealing that Giovanni is Silver's father, that is going to make it an unexplained mystery regardless. In terms of a possible answer, there is actually a pretty likely candidate here, and that would be none other than Ariana. Ariana is one of the Team Rocket admins that was effectively introduced in Heart Gold and Soul Silver when she was given her own unique identity. And the key thing about her here that makes her a likely candidate as Silver's mom is her very distinct red hair that matches perfectly with that of Silver's. Given that Giovanni does not have red hair, he likely got that from his mother, and Ariana, as basically the only starkly red-haired woman in the Johto-based games who also just so happens to be a member of Team Rocket, just like Giovanni, she is easily the prime candidate to fill this role. The fact that this has never been officially addressed or even mentioned though is what makes it a mystery, and because like I said, I don't think Game Freak has any intention of answering this in the future, it is likely going to stay that way for a very long time. Nevertheless though, it is a very interesting question to ask, and hey, who knows, maybe someday Game Freak will throw us a bone and leave some kind of Easter egg for us to find that will shed some light on this very interesting, unexplained mystery. And there you have it, everybody. Those were 5 unexplained mysteries from the Johto region. I personally find each and every one of these extremely fascinating, and I would love to know the answers to all of them. However, if you guys were to pick one of these, which one would you like to know an official answer to? Let me know in the comments below, along with maybe any other Johto mysteries I didn't talk about, and definitely leave a like if you enjoyed the video. If you're new to the channel as well, be sure to subscribe for more Pokemon content all the time, and if you would like to support the channel further, you can do so by listening to my Pokemon remixes on Spotify and checking out my Pokemon Cardinal project if you haven't yet. With all of that being said though, I'll be back on Saturday with another video, so be sure to hit that notification bell so you can know as soon as it goes live, and with all of that being said, I hope you know I love you guys very much, and until the next one, as always, I will smell you guys later.